Welcome to this presentation on developing active training objectives. So the question we really want to address as we put together our objectives is, what do you want your participants to value, understand, or do? As you think of this idea about the objectives of the training program, these really are the pillars of your program. Don't consider them like straitjackets, like this is it and that's the only thing, but they're actually what hold up your training program. They are the objectives or outcomes you're looking for your participants to come away with, to have a competency or outcomes as a result of being in your program. So the single best reason you need to work hard on developing training objectives is that your objectives will drive your training design. We will now look at how we will go about setting learning goals, and think of this as the ABCs, just a little bit of a mnemonic device: effective learning, behavioral learning, and cognitive learning. These three major types of learning, easy to remember as the ABCs of learning goals. Effective learning includes the fostering of attitudes, feelings, and preferences. Behavioral learning includes the development of competence and actual performance of procedures, operations, methods, and techniques. Whereas cognitive learning, that is more including the acquisition of information and concepts related to course content. It is more of the knowledge base, not so much as the application base as the behavioral training or behavioral learning outcomes might be. So, as we focus on learning goals, there are cognitive goals, behavioral goals, and effective goals. Cognitive goals, the priority here is where there is a lack of knowledge. This is often as a don't know situation. It is more of giving the information, the knowledge that we talked about on the last slide. So really that is the goal, is more of a beginning, a basic goal. The behavioral goals are the priority when there is a lack of a skill for your training. In this area, this is referred to as a can't do situation. So you want to provide people in your program with the skills that they need, the hands-on, that they can do something when they leave. The effective goals are the priority when there's a lack of a desire or fear about using new knowledge or skills. This is often referred to as the won't do situation. Here you're trying to move people's outlook and that they don't have confidence to be a graduate or have been through your training program, that they have the skills that they need to accomplish the task, as before they have doubt or fear and things in that nature about not being able to do it. Whereas the cognitive goals area, it's more of just knowing the situation, so you'll focus on the priority. It's just mainly the knowledge that is missing. You will give your trainees the knowledge that they need so they can have the confidence to go back in and focus on that based off of the cognitive goals, so that you have accomplished what you need to. So we have cognitive goals. Behavioral goals referring to the lack of a skill and giving them the skill to do a certain performance or job because they didn't have the skill ahead of time. And then of course effective, again just restating, building confidence in your trainees. One thing that I think is really important once you have the learning goals set is, if you are going with a cognitive, effective, or behavioral goal, as we talked on the last slide, when you make your objectives, make sure that when you select these, that you make them specific and then they are necessary for the outcome you are going for. The problem happens sometime in training is in classes that there are too many objectives crammed into a course or program. Avoid this. Be careful to distinguish between objectives that are nice to obtain and those that are necessary. The more specific that you can be on your training objectives, whether in the cognitive, if it is a course, for example, or if you're doing a skills-based training for like workforce training or something of that nature, where you are giving someone a skill set to do a job, whether they're a hairstylist or a technician, a beautician, a cosmetology school, nursing, things of that nature. Depending on what type of goal it is, behavioral, effective, or cognitive, make those specific, and then those will help you become focused on what are the necessary goals and objectives of your program. Finally, I think the selection of training objectives also are going to be influenced on one's understanding of adult learning needs. For example, adult learners tend to be less thrilled by survey courses, the big overview courses. They prefer single concept or single theory type courses. Adults also want to see the immediate value of the skills and knowledge that they are taught. They require information on the significance and application of the training topic, especially depending on what age group is, as we talk about some of the other courses and the intergenerational courses. The boomers want to see the application of this and know why it's significant. Adult learners also like to build upon their prior experience, so they expect the opportunity to be able to relate to what you are teaching them to what they already know about the situation. As you see here by Knowles, that is really critical. The better you can assess adult learners' needs and what they're looking for coming in and their understanding can really help you a long way in being successful as you build your training objectives.